And we are live with FNL Crypto DNA. I'm Chris Lansford, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Bitcoin, a primer for cryptocurrency. So, if you watched the NFL Super Bowl this past Sunday, you may have seen many cryptocurrency commercials, the most you'll ever have seen before. We kind of started noticing it during the playoffs. We saw crypto.com commercials, and now during the Super Bowl, we had a really strange commercial from a company named Coinbase. Coinbase is a decentralized exchange out of San Francisco, California, and they had the most interesting commercial as they flashed a colorful QR code around the screen, and viewers clicked on it. So today with me, I have David Jeffries, our cybersecurity professional from FNO Crypto. Hey, David, how you doing?
Hi, I'm well, thank you.
David, did you scan the QR code that was floating around your screen?
No, but my granddaughter did,
She
and
did.
everybody in the room, I guess there's about 20 of us in the room. She scanned it, looked at it, and going, had she been old enough to join the adult conversation, it would have been what the hell? Because it was like, oh, what? Okay. And then she set her phone down, and everybody went to drinking. So
You know,
it was totally I don't know.
it's not uncommon. I mean, here's the thing. Over the past few decades, commercials are more anticipated than the actual game itself. There was a Washington Times article came out, said 66%, of course, 70 something percent of all statistics are completely made up, but 66% of polled viewers said they look forward to the commercials
Yeah,
more than the game itself, which I find that I believe that 100% because,
that's me.
well, you got viewers from all over the world and the country, and you only got two football teams. So part of the whole thing about pro sports is the everyone has their favorites, and so a lot of people tune in to watch that Super Bowl that aren't watching their favorite team, and they're literally looking forward to the party, the company, the controversy, the commercials, way more than they're looking forward to football, especially when Tom Brady's not in the field. Statistics show. So, but yeah, sideline catches, fourth down stops, missed field goals. You can see that stuff all the time. But anticipation of what the companies want to pay millions of dollars to show us is really the big thing, I think. And this year, it wasn't much different. I did notice that we always have car commercials. We always have jewelry commercials, insurance commercials. The car commercials were electric cars this year. That was interesting. You had Toyota, Nissan, Chevy, BMW, Kia. They all had electric car type commercials. And then the other thing that I noticed was the technology. There was some new technology on there. And one of the examples would be the Meta Quest 2, formerly known as Oculus Quest 2. Something we talk a lot about is the Oculus and the virtual reality headset, what it's doing. Did you see that commercial, David?
I saw a part of it in the background. I didn't stay too terribly long for all of the party. But yeah, we decided the next time I pull up beside one of these Teslas, we're going to roll down the window and say, "Hey, I like your Toyota." See how that goes.
Oh
But
yeah,
the
you pay a lot of
Oculus,
money for a Tesla just to get an
yeah,
electric
the
Toyota.
Oculus. I no, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I'm sorry, I just had to put that in there.
It was kind of a gateway to me seeing the Oculus, because if those of you that are new to cryptocurrency and aren't sure what it is, where it came from, why it's here, we believe it's here basically for the Web 3.0 and the Internet of Things. The new digital currencies are changing the way people are going to be transacting, and not just transacting, but the way we are entertained by the Internet of Things is changing. And the Oculus, well, I guess they're not calling it that now. Facebook must have got their hands on it, possibly, since it's called the Meta Quest 2. Is if you haven't had a chance to put one on, I was skeptical at first, but I have tried one. They're incredible, and it's just the wave of technology for the future is here. And so when we're talking about virtual reality and augmented reality and mixed reality and omnipotent streaming of these applications that do this 3D graphics, and you're talking about a whole new world of technology just right there. Accompanying that technology is the financial technology, the cryptocurrencies, the blockchain technology, those sorts of things. So to me, we can talk a lot about commercials. We can talk about football, but the most important thing, the neatest thing that I saw clearly was the fact that there were five different cryptocurrency companies or decentralized exchanges. Well, not all of them were decentralized exchanges, but there were 5 different entities sporting the old cryptocurrency commercials. Did you notice that, David?
Oh yeah, that's the most exposure we've ever seen in a major event like that. Is this particular Super Bowl event? This is huge for crypto, and they had the money to drop on the advertising because they're looking for adoption. They want to see worldwide adoption.
And it's happening. And, I noticed it when we noticed it coming, we saw commercials from crypto.com. Before crypto.com was being used by US customers, it was on our NFL football commercial. That was surprising to me. FTX was one I saw last night with Sam, the company that Tom Brady got his hands into earlier in the year with Giselle, FTX. That was also an exchange not accessible by US customers when Tom was talking about it. So, he obviously has a lot of foreign relations, and his wife's from Brazil, so he can access that. But it was interesting to see crypto.com and FTX make their way into the National Football League's marketing, as, people don't really understand what cryptocurrencies are. They surely don't comprehend using these exchanges. And then some of the exchanges advertising aren't even available to the residents. So I was a little shocked by that. Let's go back to that Coinbase thing for just a minute before we get to Bitcoin. Stay with us. We're going to talk a little bit about the differences in Bitcoin, the different kinds of Bitcoin. All right, because there's different things with the name Bitcoin attached to it. And more importantly, we're going to talk about some regulation that has changed regarding Bitcoin. So you're going to want to stay with us. We have a panel of people that are always doing the research, the discovery, the news, and the analytics of top major blockchains, cryptocurrencies. And today it's going to be about Bitcoin. Once we get past this Coinbase ad. So let's go back really quick. David, I mentioned, is our cybersecurity professional at FNO Crypto. And David's been talking to all of our traders, all of our people about scams and hacks and phishing attacks. And one of the things that was covered, not just by David, was these QR codes. I'm in Florida, okay, Florida. And on the news over the last few weeks, we've had stories about these QR codes being risky. We had stories about, even in restaurants, people taking the menu's QR code scanner or whatever it's called, and people putting false, fraudulent stickers over people's menus in their restaurant. So, and it's not every menu, but hey,
Yeah,
if you're the one
that's guerrilla marketing. They're out there and they're scamming and phishing you. It's just a new way of doing it.
Oh yeah. Instead of flyering the door to door, you're going restaurant to restaurant and sticker in the menus.
Yeah.
But these QR codes are a danger, is what the news is telling us, that you shouldn't randomly scan QR codes when you don't really understand where the source is coming from. So how is it? I mean, this is kind of a silly question. Why is it that people would freeze up the application? It was scanned so much during that Super Bowl. Why is it, do you think, David, and this is obviously a psychology question, that so many individuals would say, oh man, there's something colorful blinking around the screen and it looks like one of those QR codes. I'm going to scan it with my trusted smart device.
Okay.
Okay, that's my question. Yes.
Why?
FOMO?
That's worse than that. It's ignorance. People don't understand the security risk of a publicly viewed QR code. For some people, if there's nothing on their smartphone that touches their financial assets, it's fine. But if you have anything on your phone, such as your bank account or checking account, or now, with crypto, it's a lot of these exchanges, a lot of these wallets are just right there at the fingertip on your smartphone. If you're going to make yourself publicly available, then publicly you are a target. And those QR codes is just such an easy way for that phishing attempt, that attack. You allow it to come into your network.
But yet, millions of users froze the system, scanning it all at one time. I kind of had a feeling I knew what it was when it was blinking around. It didn't say Coinbase right away, but I had that strange feeling that it was something that we were going to be familiar with. And I thought about you while it was blinking around. I was like, oh, I wonder what David thinks about this thing.
We talked about it. I mean, all the grandkids sitting around, they've just gone, oh, what is this? And then I told them, I said, don't do that. I said, you just fell for a great one. Don't do it.
I'm going to try. Tell me if it plays to show everybody that commercial. Let's see if we can get that thing to show.
Okay. A review of Super Bowl commercials. Don't think I've ever seen this before now. Oh, wait a
How's
minute.
that? Is that showing up?
Yeah.
There it is.
What does that remind you of? A Web 0.0 game that you played?
Does look a little like Pong.
Yeah.
Does look a little like the Pong or Combat on Atari 2600.
Right.
Boop, 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 or Breakout.
Is that
So here,
retro?
so right here's where I was thinking about you. I said, I wonder what David thinks about the foolish behavior of people right now scanning this thing. Now, it did say it was Coinbase, and
Yeah.
Coinbase is the #2 exchange in the world by volume.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's starting to gain a lot of popularity with our US residents here. It's definitely got a lot of popularity in the world. So, I mean, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. Who doesn't like a little mystery too, right?
Well, Chris, I've started a library of the scams that look just like Coinbase. I mean, they're so good that they've actually, they've stole all the artwork and they send that scam out there with Coinbase. But if you click on it, and sometimes it's a 0-click attack, you're not going to where you need to go. So I don't know, but then hey, I get paid to be paranoid, right?
That's right. That's right. And we're going to protect people. So, all right, good deal. We'll move on from that. The thing is if you did get to take advantage of it, good for you. You did get started into cryptocurrency because if you didn't already have a Coinbase account, they were giving you $15 in Bitcoin for registering. And if you register for a Coinbase account, you're going to need to put your KYC require. You have to fulfill a KYC requirement. What's KYC? That's chicken, right?
It's got to be. I mean, KYC, is that Kentucky? No, wait a minute. That'd be KFC.
Oh, KFC. Yeah, Kentucky Fried Customers. So know your customer, know your client, know your critical information is what KYC stands for. And Coinbase is vetted by, in the US anyway, our federal government says, yes, go ahead and give people access to the Coinbase. They can have access to around 160 coins.
Thereabouts, and that's the AML portion of our anti-money laundering codes and laws. So that's why you got to know your customer.
Beautiful.
One thing that they have been accused of in the past is money laundering, and it can happen. Not like fiat currency doesn't do the same thing.
The anti-money laundering is exactly why they have to get your social security number. They need a photo identification. A lot of the exchanges will take your money. They'll let you put fiat currency, which is just to clear up the discrepancies on the word fiat currency. It's just a currency that's been designated by some authority. All right. It also has the meaning of not being backed by anything, but that's irrelevant right now. But a lot of these exchanges will take your fiat currency and they will not let you there's a fiat. That's a now.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Is that a Satoshi?
That's a fiat currency right there.
They will Satoshi.
Oh, wait a minute. That's fiat. But you know what? They won't take that, Chris. But you know what they will take?
What's that?
They will take a card.
Fiat debit.
And that's fiat also. But that's digital. This is analog, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're not going to get anyone to open the doors and let you hand them your dollar bill at Coinbase. You're going to have to use digital currency.
I have no slots on my phone to put a coin nor a dollar bill. I can't do it.
There's a lot of pictures of Bitcoin out there. There's pictures that basically represent the Bitcoin, but they're not there is no such thing as a physical Bitcoin. And I think people have a hard time wrapping their minds around that I know what a Bitcoin looks like. It looks just like this thing right here. No, it doesn't. There's no physical Bitcoin. But if you did want to get your Bitcoins, you can buy them with your Visa, MasterCard, your debits. You can do it with credit, do it with debit. So Coinbase would let you purchase the currency, but then to move it, spend it, cash back out, if you wanted to cash back to fiat, ain't going to happen until you let them know who you are. So with that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, why it was created as a peer-to-peer cashless system, and a book of those transactions. That's basically all it is. And it's decentralized by nature. Most recently, I was talking with a good friend, and I said to him, rule number one of fundamental analysis says, who's behind the product? Who's the team that's supporting the product? And that's where we start. We start with, before you buy Bitcoin, maybe learn a little bit about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, who's behind Bitcoin? The white paper says Satoshi Nakamoto is the creator, coder, founder of Bitcoin. The problem with that is there's never been an identified Satoshi Nakamoto. So there's people claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto. There's a gentleman named Mr. Craig Wright, who's a big creator of nChain, from my understanding. And Craig claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Well, Craig, if you're Satoshi Nakamoto, you should have thought about that in the beginning. You can't be Satoshi Nakamoto now. You should have put Craig Wright. Now, he might argue, and I don't know Craig, I'm just being funny. But Craig might argue that in order for Bitcoin to accomplish what it was set out to accomplish, it needed to remain as a decentralized, anonymous thing, or right away, before you can, subjectively assess the instrument, the asset, the protocol, whatever you want to call it, the blockchain, before you can test it, and people would naturally do what I just said, the fundamental analysis. They would scrutinize the creator. So whoever created it must not have a great reputation. So because if they had a great reputation, they would be leveraging that reputation. So so let's think of some people that don't have great reputations. Let's think of things like North Korea, that they don't have the best reputation, from what I understand. Anyone with the name of Kim Jong anything has not yet established a great reputation with the rest of the free world.
Somebody named Bernie. You got anybody named Bernie that doesn't have a great reputation?
Did he made off with something earlier?
He made off with something. Yeah, you're right.
Bernie. Who's the guy that wrecked an oil rig into a glacier? That guy doesn't have a good reputation. Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, not very good reputations right now.
How about Enron? Was that Frito-Lay? No, that was Michael.
So in other words, Bitcoin with its decentral nature does it mean that nobody knows the creation or the creator of Bitcoin? We're going to learn a little bit about Bitcoin from David first, and we'll talk about that at the end. But I want to first get to know some fundamentals of Bitcoin, step aside the whole who created it. Let's talk about what it is and what it's doing. Can you do that for us, David?
Okay.
You want to help us?
I've got a little document. Okay, am I up on your screen now?
Yep.
Okay, Bitcoin and
no.
You know what?
You are.
Let me do a share screen. Would that help?
There we go.
Okay, Bitcoin, a primer for cryptocurrency. So first of all, I'm going to say what Bitcoin is not. I'm going to start at number 4. It's not unlimited, just like some other currencies from most countries. The only limitations on how much they print is whatever the government says they can print. That has caused some problems. It's caused inflation. Bitcoin's been around for a little while. What's been around now for about 12 years now, Chris?
2009 makes it about 12 years. Yeah.
Okay. But when you talk about anonymous, some people say, well, Bitcoin is big with this money laundering thing because it's anonymous. No, Bitcoin is not anonymous. It's a product of what we call a centralized public digital ledger. I'm sorry, not centralized, decentralized public ledger. And anybody can go to that public ledger and look at the posts on that ledger and see what's happening. Now, there's no name there, but it is anonymous. And that can be traced, just like the other day. They found $3.6 billion that had been hacked and stolen. And it took them a couple of years. They traced it down. They knew exactly who got it. They arrested them.
So, David, I'm going to stop for a second. That's exactly where I was going at the beginning of this. Was it has this Bitcoin, because here's the other thing, is that people think Bitcoin is synonymous with the word crypto. Like there is no other alternative. That when you say, hey, have you heard of crypto? People say, yeah, I know about Bitcoin. That's a common response. And if you say, do you know about something like Chainlink they'll be like, yeah, I prefer cinder block or wood slats, but I've had some chain link around my property. It's better than chicken wire. And that's literally what happens. So with Bitcoin being totally synonymous, not synonymous just with the word crypto, you're going to have to understand a little bit more about this Bitcoin, like from the deep root of why. What is it that we're talking about? Because right now, I think, David, what the problem is what we're talking about resonates with people to, oh, we're talking about something that's currently worth $42,000 a piece. And they really can't turn off this assigned value of Bitcoin to really get to know Bitcoin. So I wanted to say that now, if you have a preconceived stigma or notion of Bitcoin and you haven't really studied Bitcoin, let David explain this to you thoroughly, because there's a huge difference here. We were talking about this unlimited supply you hit on first, this limited supply versus unlimited supply. The first question people normally ask is, why does Bitcoin's price go nuts? Why does it go up and down, right? And there's a few answers to that, but that's the first thing. Why is it so fluctuating? And why is that so attractive to so many investors? Why is it so risky?
The volatility as far as pricing, it kind of follows the tech stocks, but it's all supply and demand. I mean, anything out there on the market, if there's only 10 loaves of bread and there's 200 people looking for 10 loaves of bread, guess what? They're going to bid the cost or the price of that bread up until finally somebody says, I'm out. I'm not going to pay anymore. But
someone's going to buy all the bread and start selling it off by slices until the FDA gets in there.
Well, that's my thought. You know, I'm going to go ahead and bid for that price of bread. I'm going to pay $200 for a loaf, and then I'm going to slice it up and I'm going to sell it, and then I won't be into the whole thing for $200. Guess what? I can do that with Bitcoin. There's only 21 million of them total. Okay. I don't know how many $1 bills are out there, Chris, but I have a feeling there's at least 21 million. Well, with Bitcoin, there's only 21 million of these units that we call Bitcoin. But guess what? On a dollar bill, you can go down how many digits? 100 digits. You can go down from dimes and quarters all the way down to pennies. So that's a decimal point and 2 digits. And that's as far as you can divide that, is down to pennies. With a Bitcoin, you can go down 8. Whoa, look at this on my, let me make a change here now. Well, I can't do it on there, but that's 8 digits is all you can do to the right-hand side of that decimal point. So right now at the price of, let's say $42,000 per coin, if you wanted to buy into cryptocurrency and buy a portion of a coin versus a whole one coin for about 4 cents, you could buy 1 unit of that, and it's called a Satoshi after the anonymous founder. So, and how many Satoshis does it take to make one, Chris?
Oh, I think it's like a gazillion, like 100 million. No, 1 million.
There's 1 million.
1 million is my final answer.
100,000. It's there's eight decimal points. That'd be 100,000 of these Satoshis equal 1 Bitcoin. Anyway, so you don't have to spend what costs a new car just to get one of these coins. You can go out and get 4 cents worth if you want, or 50 cents. And that's what made Bitcoin so popular around the world, is in a peer-to-peer exchange and almost zero cost, and only takes a few seconds. Western Union, this is going to kill them. I mean, they did the first digital transfer back in 1872 via telegraph. And whenever they bought Alaska, that was one of the first crypto transfers, you might say.
David, if I might help clear up for some of our intermediate, and more advanced listeners, also the ones that know a little more about crypto, for the Satoshis, Satoshis are 100,000th or a millionth. I think it's a millionth. But either way, it's a unit of measurement of Bitcoin, which is to teach us or show us that Bitcoin goes back tons of decimal points.
Yeah.
So when you see that Bitcoin is $42,000 or $66,000 at the all-time high, you don't go, oh, I could never afford a Bitcoin. You have to understand that it's broken down. So the Satoshis is my question to you, David, or can you clear this up for folks? Satoshis is a unit. Is Satoshis also another cryptocurrency?
I think it is. I think there is a crypto out there called Satoshi, but it's not Bitcoin. It's just named
Okay.
after, there's 17,800 different coins. Am I correct? As
Yes.
of last week. So
Yes.
there's a
And
lot
so
of
how do
different
you
names
do
floating
that?
around out there.
How do you keep from the distinguishing between what you're talking about when it comes to these similarities? And we're going to get into some more of that with Bitcoin specifically. There's other tick symbols that have Bitcoin related to it. And so how do people know they're buying the true Bitcoin or exchanging the true Bitcoin is my question. Where Satoshi's makes it somewhat confusing at the gate when there's a whole currency called the Satoshi. So let's use that premise. And if you could help me out.
I went to an exchange called CoinMarketCap, which is my favorite to go look at all these different currencies out there. Right now, it looks like there's 17,536 different, let's call them
We were
coins.
close.
Okay.
You looked at my website when you said 17,800 because I didn't want to have to update it this week. I had a lot of appointments. So I knew let's see if by Friday that hit 17,800. I might be 2 weeks ahead.
There's people out there building new coins and putting them out there. But the Bitcoin, if you want to know if you're getting Bitcoin, the easiest thing is to go to either CoinMarketCap or here's another one, which is CoinGecko. And that will tell you by what the largest market cap is and price, the volume, et cetera, the price over the last 7 days. So between those two right there, you can get a pretty good idea of what's going on. And don't get this from the coffee shop or the barber shop. Do your own research. Go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and look and see what, I got to tell you, I only trade with the top 100 coins. And
I'm going to call you on that,
I
David.
don't worry about anything below that. I
know for a fact you have a coin that's higher than 100. So,
but one, just one.
We want to be transparent here. David has a higher than 100 coin. He needs to come. I own the same coin.
I said I don't trade with it. Hang on, let me see.
Oh yeah, you don't trade it. You just you hodl that one.
Okay, that is number 126, and I don't trade it. When I bought some of this, I've just hung on to it thick and thin. It's gone down. It's gone up. Let's see where it's at now. It's been up here at 575. It's been down here at 287, and I still got it. I haven't done anything with it.
We'll get back to that one. I'm just giving you grief.
So beat me over the head. See if I care.
I love it. I love it. So I did that on purpose. We're seeding in the future. We're going to come back to why David and myself owns that coin that he just brought up called Kava. You can look for yourself on CoinMarketCap and probably figure out some decent things about it. But we'll actually cover that in an entire session, going just through Kava, how to access it and how to use it to your advantage. So go ahead, David.
Yeah, don't buy that just because I showed it. Okay, do your own research.
Right.
Don't follow me. I have made some mistakes, and I can tell you about my mistakes and what not to do. But before you go buying Bitcoin or anything else, hang around with us a while. Watch and see what we do. We'll tell you about our mistakes. But let's go back to Bitcoin. Okay, it's not anonymous because it operates on a public distributed ledger. And every time there's a modification made, like somebody buys a coin, sells a coin, or splits it, then it gets posted on that ledger through a very complicated process. And that's what gives it security. So where was I going with this, Chris? What was my name? I'm trying to remember now. Oh,
yeah, we run into that a lot too. It's funny that you said that because I'm trying not to cut you off because I want you to get through this. We talked a lot about what we're trying to accomplish today. And I know people can't stay tuned in with us all day. Down the road, we take these live videos and we edit them into slices that you can watch. But right now, if you're tuning in with us, thank you. You can get a lot of information from these things on fnlcryptodna.com. And David has over 85 articles there if you want to know about all kinds of stuff. So, all right. So David, real quick, public distributed ledger technology, DLT. You're going to see that a lot. So what do you think, how do you make that make sense? Because I know people get just hung up on the verbiage behind crypto. And that's one of the things I was talking about with a friend this weekend is that, the language of this is very complex and colorful. So
have you ever operated a checkbook, and do you have a ledger that goes along with your checkbook? Of course you have. Now, I don't know how good you are at taking care of it.
Not.
But that checkbook that I've got, it shows me, I have a starting point. It shows me, let's say I start off with $100 and I write a check for $10. Well, I'm going to capture that transaction in my ledger. And I'm also going to show the balance. The balance is going to be $90. That's about as basic as it gets. Now, if I lost that and left it out there on the street, anybody could pick it up and say, well, this is David Jeffries. This is his checkbook. He's got $90 in it. Oh, he's got some checks there too. I think I'll
throw that in the trash.
Yeah, whatever.
$90.
Well, this public ledger that we're talking about, it sounds kind of scary because it's out in the public, but guess what? It doesn't have a name on it. And there's also a very strong password behind that, a cryptographic password that you have to enter before you can change the amount in that particular ledger. So that's what gives it its security. And but that's what also makes it, how do I say this? Since it is public, it is secure though, since you have half of that secure password key, the other half is part of the blockchain.
Ooh,
does that help you out now on the blockchain? You want to go into this blockchain thing?
No, I really just wanted to kind of wrap around that ledger, and I like that you're getting into the security of it next, because that's going to be, that's David's always going to go to security. That's his specialty. But going into this public and private key is a big thing, because look, if some people aren't going to watch a whole thing and hear our opinions on Bitcoin and what you should know about Bitcoin, they're really antsy to follow the Coinbase, FTX, Crypto.com, eToro, and E-Trade commercials, and they just want to buy stuff because of FOMO.
Yeah.
And so, but what David's talking about right there, you can go buy stuff right now on PayPal if you want. Go buy some Bitcoin, Cash App. It's really easy. Yeah. But what you do with that cryptocurrency is what we specialize in helping people with is what are you going to do with it? How are you going to transact with it? How are you going to secure it? How can you invest some of it? What are you going to do with your cryptocurrency? If all you know is to follow social media and just buy Bitcoin or Dogecoin, you're going to run into some difficulty down the road. So when he's talking about these keys, David, the RSA algorithm that has a public key and a private key. So those keys work together. So two keys that really equal one big key. It's tons of characters that make up this key.
256 characters long password. 256.
Yeah, and none of them are alike. And that to me blows my mind. So let's talk about public key, private key really quick. Talked about the transactions and how do they get going. If I wanted to send David Bitcoin, he would have to give me his public key. I would then issue it from my account, wherever I held it, in my wallet, and it would go out. I would have to input my private key to get it to leave my wallet and go to David's wallet.
Okay.
David, to access it.
Let's stop right there, because I'm going to talk about a checkbook. I've got not only an account number on my check, but I've got a routing number. Okay. I've got two different things. So I have to enter, when I write that check, sign it and give it to you. In order to turn that into value for yourself, you want to turn it into dollars. You send it on down through this huge rail of infrastructure and regulations and FDIC and and all of a sudden, it turns into value for you in the form of dollars. So there's a security on that side. On your side with digital now, we've only got these two portions of this 256 long key. Now go back to your public side and tell me again on that so I can understand it.
Well, no, just that's it. It takes the accessing the different keys. You would have David would input his private key, and then he would have access to what I sent him. It would be in his account without his authorization, because that's how the public key would allow for transfers in.
Yeah,
the private key.
I don't care. Send me money.
Yep, exactly. It's a big joke. We always say, man, I'm having a hard time with this. And David will say, I'll help you. Just here, use my wallet address. What does that mean?
Here's my account, and I'll you'll understand more before the day's over.
I think it's important to understand this stuff, because, a lot of things that go on, like airdrops and ICOs, if you're not familiar with ICOs, it's called an initial coin offering. And here we are talking about the number one coin with $1 trillion almost in its market cap. but there's, like we said, 17,500 other coins, and those coins were once brand new. In 2017, we had a big blitz of ICOs, initial coin offerings. One of them was Filecoin. $257 million was raised just during its initial coin offering, which is a period of time that the coin first comes on to public exchanges. So it'd be like the equivalent of an IPO on the New York Stock Exchange, or something would be an ICO on the decentralized exchanges. So everybody kind of could have access to it, and there's different ways to go about it. And one of them is to give the company your public key. So if you were to get drawn in a lottery or something like that, they would be able to issue you your rewards. So giving your public key out doesn't make sense to people normally. I know the first time I had to give give me your 3-digit verification number. I'm like, that's my 3-digit verification number. I don't know why I should give that to you. Now you have all the information off my credit card to use it also. So that's the nice thing. Does that make sense? I went on a tangent there, but the point is like, we give people the keys to the kingdom all the time. We give them the routing number. We have people automatically withdraw once a month from our debit or checking account. With cryptos, nobody can do that. They have to have the private key. And with private keys in cryptocurrencies, all of them, you don't give that to anybody ever, unless you're married to that, unless you're in a contract with that person, an arrangement. Even that, be careful.
You said something about an IPO a minute ago. I just looked. The volume yesterday on Bitcoin was $20 billion. How many times does an IPO get $20 billion daily? And that's I've seen it a lot higher than that on a daily basis. $20 billion.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy money. Okay, we're getting a little sidetracked. Get back to your Bitcoin. What I want to get to, so stay with us if you want to know about the correlation between Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin BSV, okay, the Bitcoin Satoshi vision. We're going to talk, we talked a little bit about how Satoshis do or do not play into the Bitcoins. We're going to talk about those other 3 currencies in a minute. But right now, let's get back to David's Bitcoin. David, I lost David.
Okay. Well, let's see if he's there. Where am I?
While you're bringing it up, there we go. There's his list. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah. I need to get into another file here real quick, because we're going to talk about the other coins like Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Satoshi variant. Am I correct?
And let's pick up right here at the public ledger. So this public ledger is just like he said, like your checkbook. It's just a record of transactions. It's a ledger of transactions, and it is. Can you reverse transactions on that? Like hit the delete or the refund button?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
That's what was that saying? Not your keys, not your coin. If for some reason you pick an address to send something to, and it's not the correct address, or it's an address that won't even accept Bitcoin, it's gone. It will not come back. So when you see an advertisement for somebody online saying we'll help you recover your crypto, we're a certified hacker. Well, guess what? If they were a certified hacker, they'd be out hacking all these big people like Grayscale and BlackRock. They'd be hacking into their billions of dollars. They wouldn't be worrying about your $50 crypto that you lost. So don't believe them when they tell you they can reverse a bad address or a forgotten key if you forgot a key. Okay.
So the reason why there's been bad actors and have brought bad reputation is because there is still anonymity in the fact that the keys aren't publicly even like the transactions on the blockchain. They are recorded and they're visible. Does it show the entire public address for everyone to see? And but it doesn't show where that address is, like who it belongs to, where it lives. Is this true?
Yeah.
Like if the address belongs to if it's sitting in a Coinbase account, they know that because there's an inquiry that Coinbase can do and say, okay, that address is in our database. We have that address. But what if that address for your Bitcoin is on your, let's say, a hardware wallet, which for those of you who don't know, a hardware wallet is something you can take your asset balances, I guess, your keys, you can take it all offline. So it's down. It's called a cold wallet. So what if your Bitcoin is in your Trezor wallet, which is a hardware wallet? Do they know it's in a Trezor wallet?
No, if it's offline, they don't. Well, yes, the actual amount. I was trying to pull up an Explorer here here it is. This is a list of those addresses out there. And since it's in the public, I can go to this address right here that shows there's $6,217,564, okay, created by so-and-so. And this is when it happened. 16 minutes ago, somebody moved $6 million. Okay?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
And if you'd like to send more, go ahead and scan that code right there, enter whatever you'd like, and I'm sure they will accept that.
You're not sharing.
But yeah, this is all in the public realm. I mean, I don't know who this guy is, but now he's got a balance of 368 Bitcoin. Okay. 15 million. Hey, this is what we call a whale. And I know that it just happened just a few minutes ago.
Show us that, David. Can you show us your screen on that, or you?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was not sharing my screen.
Okay. Hey, that's the good thing about live streaming. If you're watching us live, thank you for tuning in. We don't really script these things. If you could only see my script for today, it's more like a sloppy notebook. You guys didn't even see that, I hope, but it's just a sloppy notebook of things that we want to make sure we cover. We spend all day doing this, so if you want to join us, check it out.
But this is I went to CoinMarketCap. Okay, let me back up and show you how I got there. I told you about this earlier. To look up these cryptocurrencies, you can see rated by market cap, how many of them. It starts at Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I'm going to go to Bitcoin right there. And under Bitcoin, I can explore that blockchain with a blockchain explorer. And I saw that just 17 minutes ago now, this particular address right here moved 149, what is that? 145,000? Here, let me make that bigger.
That is 145,000 Bitcoin. So
this guy in that particular block, there's 723,289. That's the block number. Okay.
That's the entire block, right? That has 2,279 transactions within that block.
He just moved 145,000 Bitcoin.
No, there's 2,279 transactions within that block is what it says out to the right, David.
Okay. Transaction 22. All right. So it wasn't one guy then, huh?
Right.
So it was all the blocks in that, all the transactions in this block right here came up to the 145,000 Bitcoin. Is that?
Yes.
Am I right now? Okay.
That's how that would read. And then so there's the transaction also. The mining pool, the mining fee would be 6.25. Is that 6.25, I think. 6.25.
Where do you see that at?
6.25 Bitcoin. I don't know. That's what that number looks like to me, is close to the mining fee. Let's take a look at this. Now, I've never viewed it from the CoinMarketCap blockchain explorer, so I'm trying to get to know this. I don't
usually explore it because I don't need to know this information. I don't have
it's interesting though. It's interesting though, but you will see everything in here, including the reward. And I think maybe the 6.47 could have been the reward. It's supposed to be 6.25. So I don't know where the 647 comes from. Incoming transactions to equate this would be, so this block, this says that you received 30,000 Bitcoin and sent 29,000 Bitcoin. Your incoming Bitcoins were 4,700 transactions, and there were 300 just about outgoing transactions. So total of 5,005 transactions.
So this could have very well been an exchange that all of them bought. I mean, how many different people bought, right?
So I believe that the exchanges would be responsible for having big mining pools. And so, yeah, it could be. It doesn't really matter either way. Remember, a block isn't a transaction. A block is a batch. Let's call it a batch of transactions, because every block that gets added to the chain in Bitcoin, which is approximately 900 blocks a day right now. Okay. Each one gets given out there it is, approximately 6.25. Those are the rewards, 6.25 Bitcoins as a block reward. So this is a batch of the block rewards is what we're looking at. It looks like to me, in my
I agree.
most humble opinion. So,
And
gotcha.
okay. I need to step out just for a moment here.
Go right ahead. You could take that screen down for just a second. So go ahead.
Right.
There we go. All right. And I just wanted to take this pause for just a minute. So we covered a little bit here this morning, and we're going to go more into your Bitcoin knowledge. So stay with us. And I'd like to throw a shout out to an organization that's really doing great things for traders. That's Futures Networks Live. So Futures Networks Live is doing a phenomenal job of helping traders understand price action. They use a few different financial instruments, mostly through the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and they trade and they learn how to trade. They help each other trade. It's just a social group for traders. So if you haven't been to Futures Networks Live, you got to go visit it. It's at futuresnetworks.com, futuresnetworks.com. All right. And you can tell them that F&O Crypto DNA sent you. Those are good friends of ours. And if anything, all the technical analysis we've ever learned comes from the member traders, the people at futuresnetworks.com. Those guys and gals really share. They really share, and they really collaborate to become better at more than just trading, at understanding financial instruments, understanding technical analysis. So a shout out to futuresnetworks.com for their phenomenal job of helping people understand those great things. Go check it out for yourself. You won't regret it. I think they you can sit in their live trading rooms for $10 for a week. Okay. And here's a hidden secret. If you do that with futuresnetworks.com, they'll let you have a link and access to our trading room. So we're live streaming on Mondays, and we're going to be live streaming possibly on Fridays, not to be sure yet. But either way, throughout the week, we're always in a live trading room, and we're discussing charts and news and doing research and helping each other understand what we're trying to help each other understand. So join us, or join them. Go to futuresnetworks.com and check out the link. All right, we got some of our actual member traders logging in now, so this is getting exciting. More people are adding to the group, and joining us just now is one of our soon to be, I'm not sure, certified blockchain and healthcare professionals. So I don't know that she's actually live on, but she did just join our room. Those of you watching us in YouTube, we are not monitoring the chat in the YouTube anymore. As of 11 o'clock Eastern time, our attention will be on the people that come into this room. But for them, we are still going to remain on the subject of Bitcoin. So David, I kind of plugged futuresnetworks.com for the technical analysis that you can learn there. And those guys trade the S&P 500. If you guys don't know about the S&P 500, that's the best 500 large cap companies in the world. And they trade an index that moves with all those companies. So check it out. But that's what I was talking to him about while you were gone. Lori has joined us.
Hello.
Hey, Lori, how you doing? We're live today on YouTube. And it's you and me and David and any other members that come logging in. And today we're talking really about Bitcoin. And so far, just to recap, the highlights have been to segregate in your mind, compartmentalize the fact that Satoshis may be a fractionalized unit of Bitcoin, but the actual third-party cryptocurrencies that you find called Satoshis are not. They're not the same as owning and transacting with Bitcoin. So that was probably the highlight so far. And from there, we've just been talking about this whole Bitcoin thing. David, I'm really going to turn it back over to you. I'm going to let you finish your presentation, and I'll write my questions down.
Okay, now, since I stepped out already, and you got to understand, I'm an old man, where am I going to pick up? Tell me the direction that you want me to take this, because I can go down a rabbit hole in 2 seconds.
I still really want you to go back. Well, we talked about the supply and demand and how there's only going to be 21 million ever. You can share your screen again. We talked about how there's going to be 21 million. Awesome. And There we go. And right down here, I want you to kind of talk about the white paper describing Bitcoin. Just kind of go into what it was intended to be in its root form so we can transition into these other Bitcoin entities.
Okay, in cryptocurrency, if you're going to look at any particular currency and you're just going to go be throwing money out there, I'm going to suggest you go to the white paper first. You look at this white paper. Is it going to describe what is my mission here? What am I want to do? What have I done in the past? And here's what this particular coin is going to accomplish. In other words, what is the utility behind it? If you don't find a white paper, that's a red flag real quick. Just stay away from them if they don't have a white paper. But just because they have one, that's not going to make it good either. For Satoshi Nakamoto, he did a white paper, and the man that claims to be Nakamoto, has 2 or 3 PhDs. He's a mathematical scientist. A lot of people, except for one, agreed that he was. He took it to court in the United Kingdom and won. And they agreed that, yes, this is Satoshi. So I feel sure, that he could have written that paper. Some of the other people that claimed to be probably weren't smart enough to write that paper. So anyway, that's the white paper that talks about, here's what I want to do with this. He didn't name Western Union, but pretty much what he said is, we're going to take these remittances that people send, and we're going to make it fast, and we're going to make it cheap, and we're going to make it so that you can do it universally. I'm not going to call it a universal currency, but it's the financial rails of our existing remittances, such as even Visa and MasterCard and maybe banks. There's a lot of fixed costs behind there. Not just fixed costs, there's also politics, and there's regulation, and there's insurance, and da 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 da. So that doesn't happen with crypto. So if you want to send money from point A to point B and do it cheap and fast, that's pretty much what the white paper described. And that's where you went with it.
Absolutely. So that's peer-to-peer. It's funny how, when things started to go business to business, when people realized that B2B, business to business, sorry, I realized I turned myself off. When people went B2B and business to business, you started to have things like, Better Business Bureaus would have, meetings in the morning, and chambers of commerce, and people started to come together. This was a long time ago, and help each other grow their businesses. And a lot of times in modern times, there's been offerings where business to business creates partnerships, affiliate partnerships, sponsorships, where you can offload a lot of your costs by just scratching each other's backs. So the whole business to business has made sense for a long time. Peer to peer makes people think. I naturally, it makes you think, trading eggs for whatever, eggs for cow milk or whatever, and basically you're cutting out all the middlemen, which the middlemen make this layer of convenience that we're used to. The middlemen take care of all these things, and we just go with it because we sign that to get accounts. And anything we do, we sign the account. Sure, terms and conditions. And we sign it because you can't use it if you don't sign the terms and conditions. So when you're signing up with your centralized banking entity, you don't realize you do, because it says FDIC, all these fancy terminologies on there, and you're signing over someone else to monitor the legality, the taxation. They're going to help babysit everything that happens in that activity. And it's going to all tie back to your social security number, your TPT, your taxpayer number, your EIN if you're a business. Everything that happens is going to be on you. With peer-to-peer transactions of Bitcoin, what, David, is the similarity? Is there a similarity on a transaction? Let me just give you an example. I have Bitcoin in a wallet. I don't right now, by the way.
Okay.
Please don't give me the wrench. Don't give me the wrench scam.
That's for another.
This is the only Bitcoin I have back here.
That's an interior joke.
So I get this Bitcoin, and I want to send some to you, or you want to send some Bitcoin to me, or I want to send some Bitcoin to you. And let's say it's a pretty large transaction. Let's say it exceeds the natural IRS reported size transaction. And we do it from like a cold wallet, like a hardware wallet to a hardware wallet. In other words, we don't even go through an exchange.
Well, what is
Or
a hardware? What's a hardware wallet, Chris?
well, we did talk about that in the first segment, but the hardware wallet would be like a wallet that you can take offline. You can also connect it online, and you physically, if it's hardware, you physically have it. It's like a flash drive looking thing, or a thumb drive, or a hard drive, and you literally can hold it. You could swallow it, most of them I've seen, and then get it later. I don't know how, but you could. And David's shaking his head. You can't swallow it. You just wouldn't swallow it, is what he's saying. Okay.
I'm
So-
not saying anything. I don't want to go. Okay.
Examples though, if I send
I got you in the corner here. I did it on purpose.
I know, hardware wallet to hardware wallet, I send, let's just say, I'm going to throw a random number out there, $20 million I send you
All
for my
right.
hardware
Let me give
wallet.
you my address here. Hang on.
Can I have some? I'll just do with maybe 4 or
Lori's
5.
going to send it.
Good.
Lori's going to send it. No,
Okay, well,
literally.
If you got a wallet, it's just like the wallet I used to carry, but I carried cash and credit cards in a wallet. But now, since we've got a digital currency and it does not physically exist, what are we going to put on a wallet? I mean, how do you put it in a wallet? Well, it's a digital asset, and you can take a digital file and you can store it on a piece of silicone that we call a memory device or a drive. So these wallets that we're talking about that you store these digital currencies in are super high secure devices that physically they don't touch your computer or your network, even though they plug into your computer. And it's just almost impossible to hack into one of these things because they're physically air gapped from the network. So what I have to do though is I have to touch the network with the assets that are in this wallet. I have to put it into an exchange of some type. And there's a lot of those out there. One of the most, since we're talking about Bitcoin, let's talk about the Lightning Network. The Lightning Network and Strike was built to facilitate moving money from point A to point B. So he's got $1 million he's going to send me. I give him my address and he runs it through this exchange, and this exchange goes to the blockchain and records the fact that $1 million is moving from one address, from Chris's, to David's address. And it goes through the network, and it goes through validators, and it goes through cryptography. And then after they all decide that this is real, bingo, it ends up in my wallet. Most of the time it takes a few seconds. So wait a minute, I didn't give you my address, so you can't send it to me yet, can you?
Yeah, that Lightning Network, I brought that up on the screen. The Lightning Network is what's making Bitcoin work better. And there will be other cryptocurrencies on the Lightning Network that are using the similar technology. Those cryptocurrencies most likely will become cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Dash. I can just see a few other currencies having a relationship with this Lightning Network to get what it's doing, to make it scalable. Right now, it's Bitcoin. All right, it's Bitcoin. And, David, the thing is I don't think people really understand when they say, well, one of the biggest risks of Bitcoin is the adoption of Bitcoin. So we talked about the peer-to-peer transactions, and that, to me, to answer the question earlier, I mean, if I sent you money and a lot of money, 20 million, we said, who knows who can really get after us for that transaction if we were to do that?
Well, and if you're in the United States, it's not a big deal. In Russia and India, a couple other places, they'll definitely hang their hooks into you real quick if you do more than like $600 or 600 rubles or denarii. So, but no, if you send me something, Chris, I have to self-report. I have to self-report profit. But as far as you sending me something, what is the self-reporting requirements with the IRS for gifts? Is it $15,000? I can send you that much.
So you hit it on the head. It's a self-reporting thing. The transaction itself, the way that we discussed, from hardware to hardware with no intermediary, is going to be a relatively anonymous transaction.
Yeah,
It's going to be anonymous from governing agencies, correct?
yeah, it's out there in the public for everybody to see,
Yeah.
and it can be traced. Now, but will they?
I feel like we should be having cue some suspenseful music, but we're just not set up for that. So,
Music.
yeah, I just don't know that we can do that. So here we go. The Lightning Network securing transactions, making them fast. That's a whole side thing. This is the thing. I know I've been not accused. I've been part of the conversation questioning Bitcoin's validity for the future. How can something that takes up so much computing power, so much energy, which if you don't know about how Bitcoin is mined and how it takes up energy, you're going to need to learn that. We're not going to cover that today, but you can take a whole course on just how Bitcoin comes to be and how it uses proof of work blockchain consensus. So that blockchain consensus, the proof of work it's talking about, is, to make it simple to understand, is a bazillion computers. Okay. Tons of computers, mega servers. They all have to have minimum requirements. They can be personal computers, or they can be, global conglomerates using their master technologies worth of servers. And these servers are constantly computing, and they've only been capable up till recently of computing 7 transactions a second. 7 transactions a second with all those fabulous computers was all that Bitcoin was able to figure out. And it was all the while that Bitcoin was, quote unquote, going to the moon. And it would be the only asset that people would talk about in media, social media, is Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And countries are adopting Bitcoin. David's going to talk to us about that. And Bitcoin has ATMs where you can get Bitcoin. Bitcoin's accessible through a multitude of entities. You can learn more about Bitcoin just from going to places like Goldman Sachs or Charles Schwab, Edward Jones. Those places all have Bitcoin education and offering Bitcoin of all the currencies, 7 transactions per second. But that's the one that's raised to the top. Something that David said has 21 million. It will only have 21 million ever in its max supply. And even that number will never be reached, most likely, as 2.5 million Bitcoin are already lost due to the conversation we were having. Security. If you lose your private key, if you lose your seed phrase, if you lose your protection, your access and recovery to your cryptocurrencies, all cryptocurrencies, they're going to be something that up and vanishes like a what in the wind. I'm not going to say that again. But the point is that 2.5 million are already kind of deemed to be in the lost chamber. So at the end of the day, there will only be, as of right now, maybe 18.5 million. And we've kind of have that number coming up in the circulating supply. So this power that it takes to mine all this Bitcoin and only getting 7 transactions per second, taking up to 10 minutes to actually get the confirmation for the transaction if you're a user. I don't understand why the media and third world countries, seemingly, or not third world, but different countries. I'm sorry, not third world, just, I don't know. El Salvador, isn't it the national currency of El Salvador right now?
Oh, yeah. And
Okay.
let me see, the Bahamas is going to launch next month, make it the official currency for the Bahamas.
Okay, there we go. There's no guns in the Bahamas either. So they're talking about, this is
Yeah,
way
no
less
guns.
crime.
Argentina will be next.
Definitely not appealing to drug dealers if you're going to the Bahamas. And so that's just it. This is the point about $20 million being able to be sent back and forth and kind of having anonymity and David having to self-report is why cryptocurrency and Bitcoin exclusively has this stigma of being for international criminals and drug dealers. And there are cryptocurrencies that are programmably made to have complete anonymity and hidden keys, hidden addresses. Those are things like Monero. I believe Monero might have the hidden
Monero
addresses.
is designed to be a privacy coin.
Privacy coin. Zcash, I think, is one of the ones that might be a privacy coin. I don't have my notes on, but I'm saying there's cryptocurrencies designed to be something that should be a little skeptical, a little like this is made to be secret, secret, secret. So there, some users appeal to that. They're like, oh, that's what I want because I'm a conspiracy theorist and I have to have my life off the grid. That's going to appeal to you. Do it. There's things that exist that no one's going to know about your transactions. The rest of these are being recorded on a blockchain. They're being monitored and they're developing the regulation and policy. So when you say that, we're not sure what's going to happen with cryptocurrencies, know that they're pretty sure what's happening with cryptocurrencies. And if they've allowed you to have access to something, then it's something that's been a vetted project. And that is more than just Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin with the Lightning Network isn't going to be 7 transactions a second, is it, David?
No,
How many?
17,000.
17,000, capable of millions and to billions of it says capable of millions to billions per second across the network. But I think that opens it up for multiple currencies. I don't think that's just Bitcoin.
Well, you know what the 17,000 was? I'm sorry. I looked at a comparison between one of the major credit card companies and another blockchain, and it was like, I'm going to say MasterCard. Okay. They're doing the 17,000 per second. So this is going to be a whole lot faster. They'll be able to handle a whole lot more than even MasterCard or let's say Visa, which is some of the legacy rails, that they have to send everything through so many different companies before they complete a transaction, have finality.
Yeah. And so this is going to speed things up. So what happens when, let me ask a question about this. When Bitcoin is all the way mined, so they're not going to have to worry about computation fees, mining fees, because they're going to move the currency basically to a contract on the Lightning Network. And now it's just a currency that works on a network that doesn't need the same kind of mining mechanism.
No, if you've got some Bitcoin in an address in a wallet and you hook up with the Lightning Network, which is an exchange, a peer-to-peer exchange, and you say, I want to move $50, there is a fee to do that, okay? Because there's nothing free. The fee right now is 1 Satoshi. That's what it's going to cost you to move $50. And if you want to move $50,000, the fee is 1 Satoshi.
1 Satoshi worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Right now, that's about 4 cents.
It's amazing.
Do that
It's
with
amazing.
Western Union and move a piece, try to fund an orphanage or a mission over in Uganda. And it's going to take a minimum of 2 weeks. They're going to get about 20% of whatever you want to move over there. Okay. I know this for a fact. And it's going to take at least 2 weeks. And here's the other thing, whenever they go to the bank to get that wire transfer, and they get whatever form of currency they have to leave that bank and get back to their village. That's dangerous as hell in a lot of places to be carrying $50 on you. I mean, they will behead you for $50. So guess what? It's a lot safer in most parts of the world to just have it on your smartphone. Move it across this Lightning Network or Blue Wallet okay, there's 50 of them out there. And then it comes straight to you and you don't have to do any conversion there. You don't have to go to the bank. So it just changes everything in some of these, what you call third world nations. Well, I understand what a third world nation is. Okay.
I retracted that.
Unbanked. Oh, wait a minute.
Unbanked.
I'm going to get a little bit woke here. We call them unbanked. All right.
Yes. Unbanked nations.
Unbanked. So I'm a big proponent of that, okay? Because through the years, I've done a lot of work and sent a lot of money, and resources, and time and travel. And this is just changes the whole thing. If you want to help somebody in another country, man, this is the way to go.
It really does remove the barrier of entry for anybody that has internet. And some kind of device, which they're recycling devices as far down the pipeline, the human pipeline as they can. They recycle our devices. I have an iPhone 7 personally, but so I might as well. I think it is a recycled device. It was my son's. But the point is, is anybody with internet can participate in Bitcoin. Now, what name a couple other cryptos that they could do that with? No, I'm just kidding. Let's
No,
talk.
really, go ahead.
Let's talk first about. Let me see if I can find some information.
Well, this is Bitcoin centric, what we're doing today, but as far as which one can you move? Let me think. 10,000 different cryptos.
10,000 are on the move.
10,000 of them can be moved over this. The Lightning Network is designed for Bitcoin, but there's 3 or 4 others out there that work off that same network, just like Bitcoin. So you could probably move them also, probably Bitcoin Cash. I don't know. I have to look and see because I haven't explored that far because I'm more than satisfied, with the few picks and the top ones that I've been dealing with over the past year since I got into Bitcoin. Or I'm sorry, since I got into crypto, because Bitcoin is not I hold some Bitcoin, but it's not the biggest thing on my portfolio.
Man, I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm just rolling through the screen here. Here we go. I wanted to get to the idea that, we're talking about what else besides Bitcoin could move on this Lightning Network. I'm going to think that maybe these things are set up to do it. When we have the forks, and David, if you want to say anything about this, please do, because the forks.
Well, if you got a knife and a fork and a spoon, no, wait a minute. We're talking about Bitcoin.
So the fork.
A fork.
When the fork can happen for a couple different reasons. Okay. It can start happening when there's a big enough attack on a blockchain that it'll naturally start making another fork. It'll fork sometimes when a couple of mining pools think that they have, things figured out at roughly the same time, and they both try to spit out a block simultaneously. It's very rare, but it can happen. And then there's also going to be a fork if there's a disagreement in a network's governance or in the code that says there's, for upgrades and such. Yeah. So sometimes there is an upgrade without a fork. Sometimes there's an upgrade with a fork. Right. And in the situation of Bitcoin, one of its first upgrades was the upgrade, the fork, was Litecoin.
They called it the Bitcoin ABC was the first fork.
Correct.
And it came about because of a disagreement with the governance committee, the people that actually govern the software and everything behind it are the miners. Okay. But what happened was they had a 1 megabit blockchain and they could only have so many transactions recorded to that 1 megabit block. And Bitcoin got so popular that 1 megabit was just slowing everything down. They couldn't possibly put all the transactions that were happening into a 1 megabit block. And then it takes about 6 to 10 minutes for a new block to be created. So it caused a lot of congestion and slowed down. A lot of transactions didn't even come about. They didn't even happen. So most people were pissed off and said, this got to change. Mm-hmm. So when you got 2 people together and you got problems, one of them's going to have an idea, another one had a different idea. And that's what happened in the blockchain. Some software developers or software coders, devs, they just wrote a new software program and said, hey, we voted on it and we lost, but I'm taking my ball and I'm going home and I'm going to play in my own field here. And they called it Bitcoin ABC.
And where is it Bitcoin ABC these days?
Bitcoin Cash.
Bitcoin Cash. So that's the main forks there. This is an example of when the fork creates an entire different protocol, total difference of agreement. So many forks from Bitcoin. We have Litecoin. Dash is a fork from Litecoin. We have Bitcoin Cash being the first big one. Now, Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin, David, are they the same? Are they the same price?
No. Whenever they got split, it was at $2,700 for Bitcoin, and they airdropped all these new Bitcoin Cash tokens or coins out to anybody that was holding Bitcoin at the time. They got a 1-for-1 addition to their wallet, and it was $270 at the time. And that was, I think, one of the first airdrops. But it's gone up and down since then. It's moved. It never did catch up with Bitcoin. And then the second group after the Bitcoin Cash group, they had a disagreement and falling out. whatever, somebody tripped or said something nasty, and they said, I'm gonna take my ball and I'm gonna go and play in a different field. And now they call that Bitcoin Satoshi variant. And the
BSV.
biggest difference though in these, Chris, is the size of the blockchain, because they went from 1 meg to 8 megs on the first ABC variant, or the first ABC fork. And now I think they're up to 32 megs with this Bitcoin SV. And that allows faster transition times and faster recordings and less congestion. But the security aspect of the original Bitcoin is the big thing, and the adoption. In other words, more people use it, so it's more secure.
Mhm.
So in the end, it's a user experience. What the ones that drive this are the customers.
That's supply and demand in itself. Bitcoin
There
has
you go.
42.5% of the total cryptocurrency market dominance. And that
Oh,
just means 42.5% of the fiat currencies that are currently pumped into the cryptocurrency market make up Bitcoin. The
Yeah.
other 20% roughly, at 18.5% to be specific right here on my screen, is
and
Ethereum.
all those other 17,000 coins are how many? What's the percentage?
Well, 18.5% would be Ethereum, and that puts you at around 60%, 61%, which is a Fibonacci sequence. So the number one and the number two take up 61%, 0.618. And then the other 39% are made up of what they call altcoins, or in other words, 17,534 other coins.
In other
Now,
words,
that's not coins, that's coin entities.
okay.
So
And what is an altcoin?
So specifically, when we talk about coins and tokens, we're talking about the difference between cryptocurrencies and tokens also. So a coin would be something that is the native cryptocurrency to a blockchain. It would be known as a coin. So a Bitcoin blockchain has a Bitcoin as its native currency. Or unfortunately, the word token goes into it, tokenized asset. So token is usually referred to as something on a layer 2 or otherwise blockchain, sometimes not even on a blockchain, some kind of protocol that isn't a blockchain would have a token, and that is how it would tokenize itself. Typically, the assets that have coins have less in their number of coins, and the assets that have tokens have a lot more. Typically, there's some examples of that not necessarily being true, but sometimes there's quadrillions of tokens available in the supply of a token, whereas cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have 21 million. Bitcoin Cash mirrors Bitcoin and also has 21 million in its max supply. And Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, which is the BSV, is also 21 million in its max supply. So that's just because they are blockchains that are like each other in most of their design, but they do some things slightly different. You need to do your own research on what that is. It's a great lesson you can teach yourself. We're offering a free course. It'll be released by next week, where you can do what is Bitcoin, and it's going to be about what you need to know about Bitcoin with no side streets, straight from the white paper all the way to where you could secure it into a hardware wallet if you so chose, or even send it to another user. We're going to put a whole course together for you. It's basically all about Bitcoin. There'll be a what is Bitcoin and an all about Bitcoin, and they're going to be slightly different. So currencies and tokens, you're talking about currencies and coins being what layer 1 blockchains. There's tons of them. There's Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these things, Cardano, Ripple, Polkadot, Tezos, Solana. Actually, Solana's called tokens, even though it's a layer 1 blockchain. They actually call those Solana tokens, not coins. And then your examples of some tokens are going to be things that are on top of it, like the Chainlink token. Polygon is tokens. Curve is the tokens. Maker tokens, Balancer tokens, Aave tokens, and those are layer 2 protocols. So just thought we'd go through that real quick. What do you think, David? Why did they do the Bitcoin Satoshi variant? Like is this just another way to monetize and create another revenue currency stream? Like since Bitcoin was capped, is that really what this is kind of about? I noticed that on your chart you showed Bitcoin's market cap is very different from Bitcoin Satoshi variant. Bitcoin Satoshi variant is only 1.7 billion as of right now.
Chris, all that is just adoption. I mean, if you offer a customer a better experience and or a better price, or do both of them at the same as user experience and user adoption, that's what's going to drive it up to the top. As far as why Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV didn't go to the top, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't involved in those forks. I wasn't involved in crypto at the time. I've seen some. I used to be a franchise. I owned a franchise, and I saw this franchise corporation had 10 different franchise ideas behind it. And when I saw the different governing councils arguing and said, well, we're just going to take our ball and go play somewhere else. That's sometimes they were successful when they separated, and sometimes the original concept, won out on top. So it's just people involved.
Yeah, that's good. And, sometimes it could be the same people, writing more code. There is that, very rarely, I believe, are you going to write code for crypto and sit back and say, look what I did. Isn't that glorious? You're going to be writing some more code, and you're probably going to be helping at least somebody else with their investment make a blockchain or some kind of protocol to help for this whole thing that we're talking about, this decentralized web. So I just wanted to bring this up. I know we're running out of time here not running out of time, but we have a lot to cover. When you're talking about where the volume of all this, you can find it just through Bitcoin. This right here is a list of the top cryptocurrency spot exchanges. And, I wanted to point out too, we talked about the Super Bowl thing. FTX wasn't on this list in the top 4 recently. And I wonder how much of the marketing and Sam Friedman, I wonder how much this has happened recently. I wasn't watching as this FTX jumped up over KuCoin, over Huobi, and over Kraken into the number 3 spot.
What about CRO? Is CRO on that list? It
made it to number 10, and that's another good point. It was it was number 20 recently. So the marketing that I've seen through the Brave browser, through the NFL, both on the NFL Network and NBC, Peacock, whatever you want to call it, I've seen crypto.com commercials everywhere. And it just kind of blew my mind, as I didn't know we were ready to use it, that it was available to us. So do you have a crypto.com account, David?
No, but I do own some crypto. I own some CRO, which
the
is
native coin. Yeah.
Okay. That's why I was asking you, where's it at? Because I don't look.
Let's take a look. We're going to go look at Bitcoin and how you can see where it's being traded the most, which exchange. There's crypto.com. It's at 48 cents per coin.
Right.
And there's 30 billion of those coins in the max supply.
Or is that a quadzillion? I don't know.
That's just a billion, 30 billion. And right now this is interesting about this too. Sometimes there's a ramp at the end of the minting cycle. So here we're approaching the last 15%, and you might see a little bit of a ramp in that price. So lately it's been kind of just going sideways, made a recovery with everything else, kind of bounced back up, a couple soft moves up. Number 16 though, of all cryptocurrencies, that's huge. And I bet that's going to change with the recent advertising and marketing. That should go the other way. So when you go into Bitcoin, this is coinmarketcap.com. You can scroll down here and it shows you all the markets. So all the pairs, all the ways it gets traded. So does it get traded from by US dollars on the Coinbase exchange? It does. That's actually the second highest volume way it's been getting traded. And where's the volume on that? Here it is, way out here, $519 million in Bitcoin has been traded, exchanged on the Coinbase platform to dollars or from dollars in the last 24 hours.
Well,
So
yeah, I
that's-
think you need to tell everybody about this chart too. We cannot, if you're an American and you live in America, you cannot use Binance. You have to use Binance.us, which is
Hmm.
not the same thing as Binance, okay?
So he's talking about these. If you look over here, we don't use Binance. It's a company based out of, I believe, China,
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yeah, they had to move to Hong Kong because China banned them, ran them off, said, we don't like you. We don't like the way your eyes are slanted. I don't know what they thought. They
Thanks
said,
for that, David. Thank you for
"Just
that.
don't like it."
I
You can
appreciate
edit
that.
Chris. You can edit that.
We're live streaming, David.
Oh, no. Well,
So
that's me, 100% me.
that's all right.
That's Lori.
So Coinbase Exchange is number one that we have access to, and it is high volume. That's the one out of San Francisco. A lot of Bitcoin being exchanged there. A lot of offerings on that exchange. If I go into just looking at that exchange, well, that'll actually take me there, I think. There we go. So there's the total volume in the last 24 hours. It would equate to almost 60,000 Bitcoins, $2.5 billion in cryptocurrencies being exchanged. I wonder how much of that is that $15 fee for the Super Bowl QR code. Let's see here. Coinbase offers all these currencies, and it can show you what's the most popular thing being traded right now. Here it is. If you go by volume, Bitcoin, Ethereum, highest trading volume. And that's very common, as you can buy most assets with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Most crypto assets will allow you to buy them with either Bitcoin or Ethereum, and sometimes both. And then it goes far down from there. It looks like Shiba Inu has moved up the chart in volume. Hopefully that's people selling it. And then Solana is on there with 105. Price is kind of steadied. So a lot of attention in these coins. So the more attention, the more they're going to have price changes, and the higher the market cap, the smaller that swing of price change is going to be. So there's one advantage that if you're trading these assets, Bitcoin, hopefully over time, should be finding where it does have a price that you can trust it staying kind of close to that price. Most recently, the beginning of 2019, it was at $1,000. Now, fast forward, it's been up to $66,000. So from $1,000 to $66,000 per Bitcoin, and then it cuts in half, 33,000. And so that to most is deemed unpredictable. You need to do a backstory yourself, back charting, and really get to know the history of Bitcoin and what it's capable of. The problem with Bitcoin is right now, people have big question marks on Bitcoin in our country, and people that follow social media's countries, because they think it should have been bigger by now. Why did it pull back? I don't know what to trust. But as soon as this thing kicks back to $66,000, they're going to start buying it at the top again. So why wait to that? Make sure you go through these cryptos and you're doing some kind of, studying for yourself. If you don't understand it, find someone who does. You can get information again. I'm going to say it one more time. On the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, that's where we learned a little bit about Bitcoin and Ethereum for the first time. You can learn about it at CoinMarketCap. Okay, CoinMarketCap's the website that's on my screen. If you come out here in the Learn category and you don't know what we've been talking about, then there's a glossary of terminology. All right. I remember the day I went through the glossary. We giggled because it's very difficult to understand some of this stuff. First, let's just start with the decentralized API. We're going to go for the first definition in the old crypto glossary. This will run you right out of here. I think it's supposed to. API services that are intrinsically interoperable. You know how long it took me to even recognize the word interoperable? With blockchain technology are known as decentralized application programming interfaces, or DAPIs. This is an invention of the API 3 protocol. There you go. You graduated.
I mean, seriously, that's all it is.
It's tough. This is tough. All right, but listen, when you do study and you come across something like this definition, which this is the first time I've read this, it's why I'm smirking. This actual one's just been added recently, I guess. Is that you're gonna have to sift through and find what does make sense. Okay, you're gonna have to. And there's some great courses you can take coming out that are available for you to learn. So yeah, but going through here, 51% attack. We talked about, what happens when there's an attack. David talked about transactions can fail on a network. The blockchain can fork. When you go through just the glossary of terms, you really learn a wealth of things. They try to make it break down into some understandable language. Okay, but that's the first place I would start. I'm not going to go through any more of that. And then you can go in and learn all kinds of stuff. There's basics here about everything. We are developing the same thing. I'm going to tell you that even though there's basics here, let's go do some crypto basics on Alexandria. If you're a techie, please come here. They're going to give you a better techie description than FNO Crypto DNA. Because at FNO Crypto DNA, our mission is to make it less techie, make it really understand how you can compare and contrast the different cryptocurrency coin and token offerings and understand the tokenomics behind it, understand how to do fundamental analysis for yourself. And of course, technical analysis is a treasure. If you don't know how to do that, you're missing out, because you can basically get involved in more than crypto assets. There's so many different asset classes. And then it enables you to do more with the crypto assets. Whereas most people right now are just buying, and they're just market buying at that. Some people I know are recurring buying, which could be slightly profitable if you would have started 2 years ago. But the point is that you're also paying the most fees, and you're getting the worst price for your assets if you're doing it that way. So if you want to learn how to get better position and get more bang for your buck, you're going to want to learn how to do some technical analysis. You're going to want to learn how to place the appropriate kind of orders. And it takes a little bit of it's a learning curve that you're going to have to get on, and don't get off of it, because you can apply it to everything. Cryptos being traded the way most people are, by buying them and holding them and just market recurring buys. That's spot buying, and that's not bad. Okay, I think predominantly people take it part in spot buying your cryptocurrencies. It's a great thing for the long-term hold. Okay, if you're spot buying and that's it, buying them just right where the price is right now, just saying, yep, I want to buy Bitcoin. Woohoo, I heard about Ethereum, I'm going to buy that. It's okay. Hopefully you are a long-term investor, because that's what you're kind of saying is when you just jump into something anywhere, you're saying, I don't really care right now. I care about the future. So I've heard Ethereum is amazing. I'm going to buy it for the future. Then yes, you're actually on track. Just get yourself some, if that's your style. If you're somebody who wants to know the bottom line of all your investment portfolio and transactions, you got to learn a better way to do it. So let's go through here and let's just open up the top 10 decentralized exchanges from them. Okay, let's see if we agree with this. So we're doing a little bit of a review of their review. I don't even know if this is legal. I'm just kidding.
It's a lot easier to get forgiveness, right?
That's right. That's right. Hey, we're marketing for CoinMarketCap at the same time, and we're talking about FNO Crypto DNA. So we're confusing ourselves. But the point is we want people to have the best information that they can get and have the best resources. Here's the reason why. I'm not going to talk a lot about the assets that we own personally as the trading group that we are. The people that we have right now are basically a team building of experts certified in different principles of blockchain technology or cryptocurrency or cybersecurity. Everything from an Ethereum expert, DeFi expert, NFT expert, everything's being developed at our team. How are we doing that? Well, we've been studying the other resources that have been available for quite some time. And I'm going to attribute CoinMarketCap has been paramount in our success of finding the right information at the right time. And at one time we were kind of upset. I kind of wanted to work with them, and they're so big, it was difficult to get attached to them. And they You could see they were doing their hiring and they're moving forward right there without us. But it didn't matter. I was like, okay, that's fine. As long as you have a good qualified team, we'll still use your product. And I don't think they've disappointed with their product. But when it comes to explaining cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, decentralized finance, the terminology still has not hit its sweet spot for adoption, in my personal opinion. Here's an example. Look at the table of contents and imagine you're a brand new user. How you doing? How you doing? You want to get involved in some spooky swap, or do you want Radium? I think Radium was a whole time in the 19 somethings where people were getting exposed to Radium. All right. So yeah, right away they're starting off kind of weak on the table of contents. But they probably imagine that if you're looking for the top 10 exchanges, you already know what you're talking about. So let's go see if that's the case. If you were around in the early days of decentralized finance, then you might remember what it was like to use the very first wave of decentralized exchanges. Slow, clunky, unintuitive, and downright frustrating. All right, let's skip forward a little bit. The gap there. Here we go. DEXs are now responsible for a large chunk of on-chain transaction activity, and in many cases count amongst the most popular dApps on their respective blockchains. They also often form the cornerstone for DeFi on many smart contract platforms, helping to provide projects, users, and other protocols with the liquidity they need. All right. Although most DEXs are still less intuitive than some of the top centralized exchange platforms, they are generally completely permissionless, meaning anyone can use them and allow users to retain full control of their assets at all times. I like that. Today, we're going to take a look at the top 10 DEXs. So pretty good so far. If I didn't know anything, how about you, David? Would you be able to follow what's going on here?
If I didn't know anything, I have a hard time following it even now that I do know something.
You don't know anything. Good. So
Yeah.
some days he has
It's
good
hard.
days and bad days.
It
He
is
has
hard.
good- He has good days and bad days, folks.
And then I have Wednesdays.
And then there's, but it's tough. Lori, are you with? Can you hear us? Yeah. So what do you think about the adoption? I know you've been doing some certifications lately yourself, and probably, and I know you've been doing cryptocurrency education for a long time now. So what do you think about how this all sounds from the other standpoint of like new people?
It's very intimidating information, especially if you come from a background like myself, where not financially, I don't work in finance. I, work as a nurse. And so this is all brand new, and not having anywhere to go for it. There's no way I'd have the confidence to do this kind of stuff just on my own, because I'd be the one who lost the family fortune, so to speak. So having a place to come and get it, and having people that know a lot more is very helpful. And so I'm glad that I found this group of people. So,
well, we're glad that you found us, that we found you, for sure. But so let's look. If I were to read right here about this Uniswap, okay, now you don't use Uniswap, do you?
I don't know.
Do you use any of these swaps on the list? Unipancake, Curve. So do you own any of the coins or use any of those swaps?
Get over to your list here, because I'm not even looking at it. Uniswap, SushiSwap. No, I don't have any of those.
David, do you have any of these coins?
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
some Curve. That's one of the biggest DeFi out there.
All right, so you buy Curve on Coinbase or Kraken, and you pick up
Right.
some Gemini, and you pick up some Curve, and now you're like, all right, I'm gonna learn some of what I bought and where to use it. So if you're primarily held up in stable coins, and Curve is likely right your alley. Right your alley. That sounded very British. The platform provides the powerful swap solution that allows users to trade stable coins and other close-in price assets with a minuscule fee of just 0.04%, half of which goes to liquidity providers, and the other half goes to stakers of the Curve token. Founded by Michael Egorov, a physicist and Y Combinator alumni, Curve makes use of highly efficient bonding curves to enable users to swap stable assets with minimal slippage. Curve was initially deployed on Ethereum in 2017, but has since expanded to several other popular blockchains, including Avalanche, Polygon, and Phantom. as well as several layer 2 solutions. Despite its retro aesthetic, Curve has blazed the trail for the DEX industry and now clocks in several $billion in trading volume each month. Okay. So
Right. What you said.
I'm serious. It's really, that's what our mission is, guys. We got to sift through some of this. But if you have a background, I know one of our guys, one of our members that comes in, Titus, he's been doing this stuff for a while. This is where he wants to go. Maybe he's looking for a new swap to use to add to his way of acquiring, and you got to go through and use your materials. So check it out for yourself. They have crypto basics. I wouldn't call that what was just going on there very basic, but they are easy reads. They're going to explain what different networks are from a journalistic marketing perspective. One thing, CoinMarketCap is vendor neutral, but you will find that they do promote on there some things like the MetaMask, and they have a link to some of the exchanges get to advertise on there. And we'll go over that in just a second. So coming in here and you want to know some basics, you're probably going to start at the bottom of the page when they've, or the back of the basics when they first wrote them. You can learn about stable coins in the crypto basics. I mean, some great articles in here. Learn Web 2 versus Web 3, something I'm going to be talking about here on an upcoming podcast is the Web 3.0. So, which is the future of e-commerce and blockchain technology. Look at this article. Blockchain technology is what's behind it. And look at this. They're telling you 7 ways to generate passive income with crypto. We're also going to be talking about DeFi here pretty soon and how you can generate passive income of crypto assets. So, but check this stuff out. If you haven't been here, you have to come here because it would be unfair for us to know what we know and keep this from you because this was so important to our journey. All right, enough promoting for another company, but seriously, they got good stuff there. Bitcoin, David, you believe in Bitcoin. You're muted. He's muted. Oh no.
Oh, no, I was muted. I'm sorry. I was over here just having a, and you didn't hear those words. So that's good. Yeah, I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in unicorns, and no, I actually own some Bitcoin. So I believe it.
Okay. And how many countries are using it? How many countries have recently changed their view on using cryptocurrencies?
All of them.
Like
Oh,
Bitcoin.
actually, let's talk about the big ones, the ones that are in the news. I mean, there's so many of them, like Bahamas have just said, and El Salvador said, we're going to make this a official currency, the coin of the realm. But what you're going to see push Bitcoin, since it's already at 45% of the whole world, and as far as crypto is concerned, you're going to see the sub-African or the African continent, which is huge, as far as the population, but it being unbanked, they don't have that much going on down there. And you're going to see that 2 or 3 of those countries have outlawed it. 2 or 3 of them said, no, we like it. Nigeria uses a whole bunch of it, but they're coming on board. You've also got India.
Isn't didn't you tell me Nigeria's number 2 in trading in volume?
Yes.
Why is that? I'm just curious. I don't know anything about Nigeria. How does that happen?
I haven't been able to find why. I've seen that on 2 different sites as far as the volume, trading volume. They're behind the United States in trading volume. Nigeria.
It's crazy.
It could
Maybe
be.
we're gonna get crypto from a Nigerian prince.
I thank you. I was wondering where that guy was. Now I know where. It's peer-to-peer transactions, I'm sure, Chris.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
volume.
You know,
Volume
there's an
means
amount of
both ways.
cash.
Their banking situation is not like ours. They don't have credit cards. They don't have checks. They've got problems with government corruption, et cetera. So they don't trust the same things that we do. So it's probably the peer-to-peer transactions of just the daily, hey, you want to buy a goat? Okay, yeah, I don't have any milk to trade you.
Because that's what
How
they're
about if we
doing.
do Bitcoin, okay? We can do Bitcoin.
Because that's what they're doing now, David. They're just doing goats and milk. They're not doing anything else. There's no sweat. There's no hoodie sweatshirts and Xboxes being traded down there.
So that's just, and hey, I might be
Or
blowing
Meta.
smoke out there. That's what I think. If it's going to be that high, it's got to be peer-to-peer transactions.
So India had banned cryptocurrency once upon a time in 2018. Then there's a petition passed by the India Supreme Court of India in
Right.
2020 that lifted it. Where does India stand with, like, I know there's a lot of Indian exchanges. There's CoinDCX, and I saw a commercial for an Indian exchange the other day on TV. Which one was it? Can't remember. But the point is like, how is it working over there now?
Well,
That's a big population is why of crypto enthusiasts, I think.
okay, hang on a second. Let me pull up something that I had earlier today
No,
on,
I
no,
can-
I don't need to pull up something. India came out last week and said, and they didn't actually say it's not illegal anymore, but what they did is they made it legal because they started taxing it the same as gambling. And they added a 1% transaction fee on the buying and the selling side. So no, whether you buy it or you sell it, India is going to get 1%. Now, that's not much, but that 1% allows them to track that cryptocurrency throughout India so that they'll know that you have it and you know that they know that you have it. And the tax on that is 30%. Also, if you lose money or lose profit in your transactions, it's not like stock or something else that you can put that against your losses. No, it's just like a gambling debt. That 30%, if you make money, you pay taxes. If you lose money, you're still paying taxes, but you don't have to pay on the loss. You just can't put it. Now, Russia, they had a little bit of, Russia is going to be huge also. Okay. That's probably 20% of everything going on out there right now is Russia.
Hmm.
Dogecoin number 4 on usage in Russia. Why is that? You got any ideas on Dogecoin?
Maybe the Shiba Inu is or the Dogecoin, like that little dog, is a dog from that region,
Yeah. I didn't think about Siberia.
like
That's where they send all the
Akitas, and
dissidents.
Shiba Inus and Akitas and those kind of things. They're from that region, I think, of the Northeast Asia.
Okay, the Russian central bank, which is similar to the Fed in the United States, or the IMF, which is kind of run by the United States, they said that crypto, especially stable coins, can destabilize the economy, and we don't want it. Well, that's because it's a direct competition. Of course, they don't want any competition. Putin said, no, let's do it. So guess what? Last week, Putin won out. They said it is now, legal. And of course, they're developing their own central bank digital currency. I'm sure it's going to come out there just like some of the cars that they've made over the years. Some of those Russian cars that nobody bought it, but it's the only thing you can buy. So we'll see how that works out.
Wait a minute, what are Russian cars? Which ones are those?
I can't even name them. I mean, I've seen some of them.
I have never thought about that, but yeah, I don't know any Russian cars. They don't do that
No.
there.
That's right. They don't make a whole lot of them that get over here to the United States, do they?
Oh,
I mean, they don't have a lot of market in here in the US for
That's
Russian made vehicles, do they?
no, I guess not. I mean, would they if they did? I don't know. It's interesting. Well,
I don't know.
So the crypto that they're doing, that's going to be something that is centralized.
Oh, yeah, the central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, that's not marijuana, that's something else. Anyway.
Right.
CBDCs will be a central
confusing.
bank issuing a digital currency, and China's already rolled theirs out. That digital currency is programmable. So when they first rolled it out, they said you could use it to rent bicycles and one other thing in certain areas. Some areas it wasn't as restricted, but when you have a digital currency and you go up and say, I want to buy some whiskey, and they said, nah, the only thing for sale today with this currency is milk. Do you think everybody's going to adopt that and use it a whole bunch, or you think they're going to go back to trading trinkets and seashells and maybe gold coins? So I don't know how these CBDCs are going to work out. If they don't serve the public well, they're just going to sit there and just be a waste of the taxpayers' money. It doesn't matter what country you're in.
Yeah, they're not gonna be adopted unless you force us to be to have them. Excuse me.
Yeah. Of course
Unlike
they will, in China, if you don't use this, we're going to take one of your kidneys.
And that's the thing, the big constitutional question in our country is, aren't you worried that they're going to be outlawed? And I think to myself, they're not. They're not hurting some people as much as they're not helping other people. And those people have been historically bad actors in our culture that it's hurting. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, because you have to have some kind of legal taxation to fund all the different government plans and agencies and things that we do have that keep the infrastructure of our countries the way that it keeps them. And maybe some are over the top, as government is, to control the mind is really what government means in its Latin form, but to control, it has to control. It's supposed to be for the people. Our Constitution, most constitutions are for the people, you'd think. But
Benson, come on now.
But hold on, but I'm dancing. Yeah, I'm dancing. But there's an element to the liberties in our country that say we can but I mean, they've been trading currencies from other countries for some time. You can exchange, domestic and foreign currencies, no problem. This currency, as long as it can be tracked a little, regulated, someone's paying something, they're not going to outlaw regular currencies. So Jerome Powell even came out and said, listen, we don't know what we're doing going forward, because here's the deal. I mean, yeah, we're exploring CBDCs, but what, cryptocurrencies, just what David said, we don't know how it's going to be, how we're going to overtake that. And they're doing a lot of heavy lifting for us. So instead of developing something to compete with it, we would rather develop the systems to responsibly make sure that it's governed and distributed and managed responsibly, governed and distributed and managed and whatnot to the best of their ability. Right now is a great time, in my personal opinion, to get interested in cryptocurrencies. If you don't currently have any education, it's time to start that. If you have an education and you don't know what to do, it's time to ask for help. If you are holding on to cryptocurrencies and wondering what's happening with it, look past the social media, because you're going to be left holding the bag on something while there's something else that's some other cream that's rising to the top. That's my opinion. Like I said before, it's a colorful and complex language. So you're going to have to do a lot of compare and contrast as you're reading the same website over and over. This one does exactly what the last one does. So we can't go by this. Well, who is this company? Who are these people? Okay. This one's kind of like 3 people I've never heard of that look like they may not be from where I'm from too. So let's go to, and they're not. Oh, look, I invested in a coin that I had to use Google Translate to translate the website. Probably not a great fundamental analysis move on my part, because I really have to take so many people's words for what it does. However, when you're coming across projects that seem to have the market capitalization, the use case, which I'd like to talk about, the support and the community behind it, that's how you're going to make your decisions. And then don't let subculture communities steer you in how you're purchasing, like how you're interacting with that. All right. Because remember, anything that someone's really talking about, if you would think by now in this broadcast that I must have a lot of Bitcoin. It's all I talked about is Bitcoin. Everything's back to Bitcoin. I have 0 Bitcoin right now. I've had Bitcoin. I've received Bitcoin from friends. I've sent Bitcoin, experimental Bitcoin transfers. I've had Bitcoin on several exchanges that we all can have access to. And I've used Bitcoin at a credit card terminal at many locations where it converts. Well, first it buys what I needed to buy so I can get out of the store. And then it converts my Bitcoin to US dollars and charges 2.5%. Okay. That's with a debit card. And I'm in the US. And it is through Coinbase if you're interested. And 2.5% to use Bitcoin. Incredible. That is because it's being tested. It's my understanding not everybody can get that credit card from Coinbase right now, that debit card, because I think there were a number of people that got to be early users on it. And so stay tuned. We'll give you more information on the Visa debit card that Coinbase has to offer. Gemini is an exchange out of New York that offers a 4% back card or 3% back type card for MasterCard. And it's literally a credit card. So I'm not sure how that card works, but the Coinbase card is just access to your cryptocurrency portfolio through your phone and through a physical debit card, that you can use at the terminals or online, or you can give somebody the number to it over the phone. It's a 16-digit number with an expiration date and a 3-digit verification code, just like the one from your bank. So you would think that we're promoting Bitcoin, but we're not. What we're talking about is the different capacities of Bitcoin, but know that now that Bitcoin's on the Lightning Network and it can compete maybe with transaction speed, throughput, use less energy, be on a network with other currencies that want to be there because of this speed and stuff, it's definitely back on the radar of being something to look into. The cons of Bitcoin compared to some other technologies are that Bitcoin does not have, it's not a programmable thing. So you're not going to see things building on top of Bitcoin. You're not going to see it growing like that as far as everybody, but you're going to see Bitcoin connected to everybody. So not everybody's going to connect to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is going to be connected to everybody that it can. In other words, we want you to be a part of this and you can pay for it with your Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's like a starting currency to get involved in other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum is a great starting currency to get involved in a lot of cryptocurrencies, very cross-chain, universally accepted. So CBDCs, the key takeaway, we're not going to read this Investopedia article. By the way, there's courses on Investopedia. Haven't taken one in a while. There's paid and free courses, and there's education on Investopedia. I like to give out a couple different sources when we're talking. So CoinMarketCap, Investopedia, and again, Coinbase, they have great learning platforms. Use them. Coinbase's is free because they want you to use their exchange. CoinMarketCaps are free because people market there. Investopedia has a paid courses. They have advisors you can connect to. And so it's a much bigger platform, but go take advantage of the free stuff that's built into their platform. Very, very user-friendly. If you have been through the futuresnetworks.com Trader Creator, they really do use a lot of takeaways from paid and free courses at Investopedia. Just great information here for trading a multitude of things. We talked a little about spot currencies or what people are involved in. You can trade derivatives of cryptocurrencies too. You can trade indexes of cryptocurrencies. So, 10, 20, 100 cryptocurrencies that make one price index like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ or the Russell. And so there's indexes, there's futures trading, there's options, there's margin trading, which comes with one of the highest risks because you're borrowing money to trade. So remember that there's many ways to trade cryptocurrencies. If you're thinking about just recurring buys on PayPal and taking a portion of your paycheck every time, just get a little more information about what's going on with all the cryptos. I'm going to keep saying that once in a while, assuming that you haven't all been with us the entire, how long's it been? I don't know. We've been on here a few hours today. So thank you for joining us. This is FNL Crypto DNA's Monday live stream of today, kind of Bitcoin stuff, but we have a lot of side rails along the way. So thank you for joining us. This live stream will later be chopped into some more smaller blocks and servings. So remember, one cool thing about a live stream is we may have to pause and we may have to go different directions sometimes. Oh, here we go. We're on the CBDCs. Key takeaways would be central bank digital currency is going to be just like your US dollar that you use through the bank right now. When you check your app on your phone, it tells you how many US dollars you have. If you were to send some through something like Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, whatever app you're going to use, they'll let you send dollars from your bank. Okay. Those are digital dollars. They're not literally going to run down the street with a sack of money and say, hey, Chris wanted you to have this. It's not happening that way. So that's the old school way. Horse rides. So the central bank digital currency, you're used to that. Now, the difference is going to be that they want this to work on the blockchain of things. They want this to act like a decentralized cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin. So it's going to be issued and regulated by the nation that creates the currency. All right, that's the central governing agency, is the government. So from there, they're going to issue it out to their banks. And there's another level of management, if you will. So those banks are going to be the custodian of where you keep your cryptocurrency, your centralized banking currency. They're going to see and report all your transactions, just like you're doing today with Bank of America's or Wells Fargo's or anything, Chase Banks, JP Morgan, any of those. CBDC promote financial inclusion, simplify the implementation of monetary and fiscal policy. Simplify the implementation of money, because in that sense, financial inclusion says right now banks are being left behind. These entities, these aforementioned entities, are being, I want users to still use mine. I'm used to making huge dollars off of their interest rates and their payments, their insufficient funds fees and their monthly checking account fees and their transaction fees. And we can't afford for them to be doing that peer-to-peer. That's not going to work for us. So as a benefit, it would promote financial inclusion. In other words, there's a lot of people that work in that industry. Let's not forget that. And so, most of them on most of the scope are trying to be professionals in that field, and they're trying to help their customers, help them with all the legal, all the everything. All right. So, and help be the custodian of their money to some capacity. And that comes with some level of protection for the customer. So they're trying to make sure that those people that have spent the time vetting how to do all of this and spent their life and livelihood building the financial ecosystem, that they can still be included in what's going on, more than just accepting Bitcoin into your private account. They want to be included, and they want it to be just like it was today. Simplify all of it, because they want it to be the system of today. You're going to see CBDCs most likely are going to be in an unlimited supply, and they're going to tell you that that's to help with scalability. It's to help you with sustainability as your numbers go up. So, that is what they do with the dollar. They just print more and they give a bunch out. And that's why it's always worth the dollar, is because they don't even know where they're all at. There's so many. They just can't account for all the dollars. There's some under, the mattress here. There's some dug in buried in holes here. There's duffel bags in closets here. There's not here. I wish, but there's money. There's just money unaccounted for, and there's double spending, and there's fraud. Like right now in the current infrastructure, there's a lot of fraudulent activity, and there's a lot of people that work to do all the auditing of that activity, to try to find out who the bad actors are. And there's just so much that goes into it now. You'd be eliminating all of that. So they wanted to keep it, they want to keep it just like that, but they want to have their unit be the only thing that you're really using, because it makes the most sense to you. So you're going to see this coming. And the more control your country has over you, they're going to just tell you this is how they do it. Like that's what Putin is doing. He says, okay, we'll do it. We're going to do it through me. Okay. That's the latest updates on Putin. Is he'll legalize crypto, but he's taxing it, and it's going to be his crypto. He's going to be his crypto that gets pushed for certain benefits in his country.
Oh yeah, China's already doing it just like that. They'll tell you where to spend it, and that's the way it is.
Yep. China does it. Russia does it. And you know what? With all due respect to all current national infrastructures, I understand why they would want to make sure that they can maintain inclusion. So as a centralized form of currency, they may not anonymize transactions like cryptocurrencies do. So you kind of lose one of the benefits possibly of cryptocurrency, and that's the discretion. that you may seek or just wish you had as a human and had human rights instead of government citizen rights. You know, some of us want both, and it's unfortunate that you're not going to really be able to necessarily always maintain both your human rights and your civil rights. They're not always the same thing. So a lot of people in the movement, just the movements, all movements, and I support some of the movements that are out there that are like, hey, what about human rights? But some freedoms come with a lack of order, and then you're going to have with the lack of order, one of the descriptions that goes on the other end of that word is chaos. So that's what they're afraid of is the Wild West, as they call it, being chaotic. And then it hurts people that are used to and I don't have a nickname for these people, but it hurts those people that really count on the control and the order and the rules, because that's how their brain works. That's how they were raised. Is someone, where's my insurance? I need my insurance. Where's my security? Where I want to go to the bank. I want to talk to the teller. It's part of the system. I'm used to that. Why are they putting these machines in as tellers? I want a human. Okay, I understand. So a lot of this stuff's being created to eliminate a lot of the human errors that come with the accounting in transactions in the first place. Okay, with artificial intelligence, they can have more, like you heard the word, permissionless, trustless transactions taking place, where they can say transactions, accounts, and balances are verified with consensus on the blockchain. My head just blew up. Verified with consensus on the blockchain. It's legitimized. It's the most awesome thing ever. All right. And being able to do it discreetly, privately. Some people don't trust that. They want to see an exchange. They want to see you count out their greenbacks. They want to see you count out their greenbacks. There's just people, and it's metaphor, but there's just people that want things to stay the way they are. They don't understand why we would change it if it's not broken. So with that being said, you need to tune in for all of our coverage on the new Internet of Things and the Web 3.0 upgrades to all that we do, because that's another reason why the transactions have to start happening faster and be scaled globally, is because the developers of the applications that we all want to use on our smarter than smart devices are offered globally. And a lot of them are going to have their own built-in native currencies or financial little ecosystems. So that way, while the omnipotent web, in other words, all the time is going on, and all these transactions are happening at the same time, then they can take things and put them on a side chain or compartmentalize them. And through compartmentalizing transactions, they can use their own currency. And they can use that currency, and then people with that currency can then exchange it back to the bulk major currencies that are globally being exchanged. So it doesn't skip a beat and has no cross-border penalties or acquisition, barriers of entry. Those are weird words I just used. But the point is that anybody can get it, and anybody can get in it, get out of it, exchange it, and you can choose. You can literally choose. I've talked to people that I'm like, what's your favorite cryptocurrency? And they say one I don't even know about. I love that. It blows my mind. I have a friend mining something I don't know about right now. And I didn't even know he was a cryptocurrency miner. That is interesting to me. I don't know which one it is. I forgot, but I'm going to look it up. Here's the thing, is that there's something out there to serve all kinds of use cases and industries. And it's not about Bitcoin exclusively. It's not about Ethereum exclusively. It's not about central banks versus decentralized banks. It's about a world marketplace that's going to be here, and people are going to have access to it virtually from anywhere. And there's going to be so much competition, and you already know people have this itching hunger to want it all. I want access to it all. Did I just see a MetaQuest 2 at the Super Bowl commercial? Mommy, I want a MetaQuest 2. Christmas isn't till December. Stop asking me. So the MetaQuest, I do want a MetaQuest 2, Mom, if you're watching. So the new MetaQuest 2 was the Oculus. that if you haven't worn one, I said it in the beginning of this broadcast, you have to try it at least for 15 minutes so you can see the business plan, or you can see a little bit of what they're trying to create. Now, most people still watching this are probably not younger than me. If you're younger than me, kudos, because you're going to be able to have a little more control over what happens with your investing, your finances, your, not just from us, but from the things you'll be introduced to from sticking by David, myself, Lori, all these good people at F&L Crypto DNA. We're going to help guide you. If we don't have the answers, we'll guide you. So if you're younger, you're already ahead of the game. If you're older, and I'm just going to use me as a medium. I'm in my mid 40s, right smack dab in my mid 40s. Thank goodness. I think next year I enter my upper 40s, my wife tells me. But here's the point, is that I feel like I have friends that are I do have friends twice my age. That's crazy. And I have friends that are half my age. And the difference between them is the ones that are double my age and to my age don't really think they have time or really concern cryptocurrencies. I don't really care about that. I'm too old to worry about that. Well, you should be concerned that it is very difficult to understand the technology that's being created. But I want you to understand that, there may be an opportunity to learn about what will be here when you're gone, and what your kids and what your grandkids and what your great grandkids and what their kids, I didn't want to say great, what they're going to be using in their lives if we've left this place in a good place. If we've left Earth in a good position to keep moving forward. A lot of people don't care. I don't care. I'm going to be dead anyway. And that's crappy that you've gotten to that point. But that's just a product of how things do kind of look difficult right now. The outlook is dim for most things, but not for kids that are in college developing technology right now. They're on board. My father's worked for Intel for a long time. And I asked him once why he does what he does. And he says, man, Chris, and no one ever asks you why you do what you do. They just want to know what you make. Dad, by the way, what did you make? He never told me. But the point is, I said, Dad, why do you work for that company, for Intel? Did I already say Intel? Why do you work for Intel? He goes, cool, Chris, I really like what I do. He goes, it's so amazing being like in the future, like being a part of the technology industry just really has always appealed to me. And my dad used to be a DOS prompt programmer. So yeah, back when he was doing little orange and green looking screens in cubicle, and I would look over his shoulder and be like, oh, I'd never want to do that. For him to see with his Oculus headset on what has become of the computers, period. Now I understand, because for most of us, it's plateaued. The technology is on a plateau to you. Yeah, I guess I'll get the new phone. It's got 7 cameras on the front of it. It finally looks like an alien. And I guess those pictures aren't just 1 second or one flash now. The picture takes a 3-second picture, so I can get people fixing the things in the corner of their mouth and last minute shirt adjustments. I can get all that stuff in my photograph. Yeah, I'll get the new iPhone. I mean, really, we're using the same technology for years. It just barely gets changed. And here's what I'm trying to tell you. If you're older than me, the people younger than me love that technology. And a lot of the cryptos, I have to give credit to my son. My son was teaching me about cryptos before I learned it from anybody else. Really, I learned people had them. I heard about Bitcoin millionaires, but I didn't know about NFTs or DeFi or Ethereum or any of that stuff. I learned that first thing from my son. He was like, cryptos? Yeah, you should check this out and this out. Then all of a sudden I'm talking more. And then someone turned me on to Coinbase and we all learned together. But the point is for most of us, we think it doesn't matter, but it matters to the majority of the world right now. So it does have to matter to you. It's like not mattering who's going to be the leader of your country. It doesn't matter to me. And to some, it doesn't. Those people got to be okay with the new rules, and they got to be okay with the people that it does matter to decide for them. So, there's always been this, you have a responsibility to vote, not if it doesn't matter to you. but don't start complaining and starting riots on the streets if you didn't get out and try to contribute to the problem. I'm not saying that voting is the answer. I'm just saying that if it doesn't matter to you, then, I would be surprised. Technology should matter to you. It's going to make it easier for you to spend time with people that don't live in your hometown if you will participate in the virtual market. So I don't know. I'm torn myself, David. Torn, because I don't want to do things on my computer all day, and I don't want to do things in a virtual world. I actually live in Florida for a reason. I like the weather, and I'm not going to get to enjoy that with my virtual headset on 24/7. So I'm torn, but I think having access to it is really the key concept here. It's not a virtual world versus a real world. It's that there's going to be access to all things. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's a balance in there if you want to stay healthy. I mean, we have technology, we've got the Web 3.0, the virtual world coming, but if you don't get out and exercise your muscles, the atrophy is going to set in and you're going to end up a fat old man like me. So I have to go out and cut some firewood now and then just to get some exercise. That's because I'm too cheap to get a gym membership. Okay. I'm not about to sweat unless somebody pays me to. Hey, it's a balance.
Yeah.
Because in order to be healthy, I do what I do to keep not only my brain limber, just like I'd cut firewood to keep my muscles limber, make sure they don't atrophy or they grow.
So before I would wrap this whole session up just right there, what about learning cryptos for you has been like? What has it been like for you, honestly? I know it's been.
I'm just here for the beer, Chris. You know that. No, wait a minute.
But tell people, because I think you're barely younger than me. So tell people like what it's like for people your age to adopt crypto.
Well, if you don't have at least some basic computer skills, then I'd say it's a fairly tall order to get out there and adopt cryptocurrency, because some of the words that we use. I'm sorry, Lori, go ahead.
I said, you're not kidding there. I refer to myself mostly as a tech tard because I don't, so it's challenging, but it can be done.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of challenging adopting, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I haven't met anybody at any of these meetings older than me yet. I know they exist.
Yeah, they're out there.
They're
But I think a lot of people, David, they rest on other people giving them the information. And that's where I'm trying to say is that people are getting that information from their smartphone, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, Instagram. Am I missing something? TikTok, Snapchat. I don't know. I'm just trying to name things I can think of on there.
Just wait, Chris. You're going to see that like Gala and Steam is the NFTs with social media.
Yes.
And you will pay for every conversation with an NFT. Everything you put out there like Facebook will be paid for an NFT, because nothing's free, but it will guarantee privacy. So all of that you mentioned just a minute ago.
Yes.
Just wait.
It's changing. It's
Just
changing.
wait.
It's changing. That instantly is changing. You saw a lot of weird commercials during the Super Bowl also, if you were watching, just to cap that up.
Yeah.
That had a
I
lot of,
don't like change. Okay. I don't.
well, that's a generational thing that at each generation doesn't, we get used to it. We get used to what we've been doing. So I guess I'm 50-50. I'm not sure yet. I really don't know. You think about, what you want to do the rest of your life. And some people know what they don't want to do the rest of their life. And that's part of the journey. Lori.
I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up.
Right now, yeah, I never ask people that because I don't want them to grow up. Lori, what do you think? Honestly, give people some tips on if they're hungry to know more about crypto or get into crypto. What should they do?
I like the fact that I have a group of people that know more than I do. So if you want to know about anything, it doesn't have to be crypto. Surround yourself with people that are either smarter than you or know things that you don't. And that's about the crux of anything that you ever do want to learn. So don't be complacent and not open yourself up to new experiences and new knowledge.
That's excellent. I think that's a big thing. Since I met Lori and David, we've been through a lot. of learning. And we've come across a lot of other people that know a lot more than we do. And it's been an experience that we feel entitled to have to give it also to help people, because if you're not becoming aware of a lot of things, one, your investment portfolio, who manages, how is it managed? We have things all over the map here. That's what's neat. People kind of share where they're at, from financial planners and advisors to CPAs, or just basically people that have controlled their own investing for some time, talking about their experiences pretty transparently. We don't talk about successes and numbers and dollar amounts, just how things worked, pros, cons, how we would assess things that we're looking at. And we do share, hey, guys, what do you think about this? Check this Bitcoin chart out. Well, let's take a look at it. Let's perform some group technical analysis. Okay, you're not going to get that everywhere. So you need to learn from someone that does do it, or you need to trust somebody to do it. Those are your options. Or there's the other option of, I'm too old for this, or it doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with the way things are. And you will be fine. But if you are interested, look us up, futuresnetworks.com. We'll teach you how to trade all technical analysis. And they focus primarily on a fabulous instrument, the S&P 500. You can come to FNL Crypto DNA, and you can start spending every day with us when we are not live streaming, and we don't talk to you and everybody at the same time. We literally have more 1-on-2 and 2-on-1 and 1-on-1 conversations that help people get where they're going and navigate all this information. So thanks for tuning in. We went about 10 minutes long, so we got about 11 minutes worth of editing to do. I'm sure I can edit myself for that long. Lori, thanks for being here today. David, we got a lot of explaining to do, David.
Oh, man, I know. Hey, I apologize. Okay, I'll just get it out there right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Whatever.
I'll cover for you on a different episode when you're not here. Speaking of episodes, thank you, David, for being here.
Episode 1.1 is today. This is the first one.
Good stuff. Good stuff. It really is the first one. This is the first one since we've assembled our team, where we've live streamed people that really do know what they're talking about. And our mission is to share it with you in a way that maybe soon you'll know